All right, this lesson is titled Honor Your Parents. Well, most Christians are going to say nothing new there. But stick around. Maybe I'll give you a little challenge, okay? You know, the Bible says in Exodus 20, honor your parents that your days may be long. In Leviticus 20, it says, if you curse your parents, you're to be put to death. In Proverbs 23, it says, listen to your father and don't despise your mother when she is old. Colossians 3 says, obey your parents, for this pleases God. And all of these admonitions are repeated multiple times elsewhere in the Bible. Look, when the Bible says something over and over and over again, you might get the idea it's kind of important. You know, these days it's real popular to say, I came from a dysfunctional family. It was my parents' fault. Whatever. That's not honoring your parents, people. Now, I was a rebellious teacher, a teenager. Probably teacher, too. That's today. I was a rebellious teenager. I probably wasn't as bad as I thought I was. I know I wasn't as good as my parents thought I was. But I remember one day in, I think it was either late 1970, early 1971. It wasn't too long before I got my driver's license. When I said the wrong thing to my mother. I don't remember what I said. I remember it very well. I was facing east in our kitchen. And she reached out and slapped me in the side of my face. Pretty good blow, too. I don't know who was more surprised by that slap, her or me. I was known for having an out-of-control temper back in those days. I'm not sure if she expected me to hit her. We had total silence. I will admit that I wanted to hit her. But you know, I couldn't get my arms to move from my sides. They were just hanging at my sides and I couldn't get them to move. I was raised to respect and honor my parents. Like I said, I was a rebellious teenager. I hadn't bought into what they were teaching me. I hadn't bought into their life value system. But this one thing I knew, that my parents were not hypocrites. They practiced what they preached. They helped others. And I mean all the time. Some of the examples I love to quote. They helped an old lady go to and from church. They cooked meals for a blind couple. And they helped so many other people. They were always involved in church, and not in a way to bring glory to themselves, although they were given a lot of honor. But they often were doing things that nobody even saw. My dad would be there an hour before church and an hour after, and he'd be helping behind the stage with the sound systems and the lights and everything. My mom would be there early, and she'd be downstairs setting up classrooms and, whatever. Not just her space. I knew that my parents were honored by others. I knew that whether you were a Christian or a non-Christian, people respected and honored my parents. They believed in them. I still go back, my first car, my dad shook hands with the banker, and the banker said, okay, there's the check for the money. Well, you can come back tomorrow and sign it. Sign the paperwork. The car's yours. My dad bought a car on a handshake in 1971. Even back then, that wasn't very common anymore. I did not turn to God until after I left home. But I knew my parents were praying for me. I knew that. As I grew older and I thought back, I could never stop remembering what my father taught me. He loved to quote Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. You know, when I thought about my mother, I mean, to this day, she still lives the same life she's always lived. And I think it's most demonstrated by one of her favorite passages, and that's in Romans chapter 8. Verses 31 through 37, 39 actually, the whole thing says, but it's summed up right there in the middle. Nothing can separate us from the love of Christ. Nothing. I give my parents all the honor I can. I'll let them have 1% of the blame for some of my shortcomings. The rest is on me. How's that? Have you honored your parents lately? There's your challenge. There's your challenge. The greatest way you can honor them, living or dead, is by how you live your life. By how you live your life. When I wrote this, that was the end of the sermonette, lesson, whatever. But I went back and I added 2 postscripts. The first one is, if your parents are still alive, pay respect and give them honor. There is probably very little left in life that would move their heart more than for you to tell them how much they meant to you. How you try to live your life to bring honor to them, and how much you respect them. And the second postscript is this. The Bible does not say honor your parents if they deserve it. If you didn't have the best of parents, even if they were really bad, try and find some way to honor them. Or at least don't go around and disrespect them.